Welcome to You Love Life, a podcast, an exploration about love, sex, romance, marriage, monogamy, and intimacy. And I'm your host, Wyden. This is part 2 of the Dualities event. You Love Life on location. My guest for this episode is Drue Metz. Drew is a writer and director, and together with his co-writer and actor Tyler Atkins, Drew directed an award-winning short film called The Love Effect, about two men who are struggling with depression and suicide. The unexpected friendship that they form helps them to rediscover life's greatest gift and its powerful effect. Hello, Drew. Welcome.
Hey.
I saw the movie. It's beautiful.
You're the only one that's seen it.
I've seen it. None of our audience members, unfortunately, tonight were able to see. We had some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But the way I kind of run my show is like, there's no coincidence. There's no accidents.
Everything happens for a reason.
We're here. Everything happens for a reason. We get to talk about more about the message, right? Because we could talk about the cinematography, the sound, the acting. Mm-hmm. As a filmmaker myself, I really appreciated the movie on all those levels. Yeah. There really wasn't a level that wasn't keeping up with the message, if that makes sense. So you're a man, and you made a film about two men really connecting on a intimate level. Mm-hmm. And by intimacy, and I always like to say that, it's nothing to do with sex. Mm-hmm. It's just pure connection. Mm. How did that movie come about?
The film was originally conceived by my business partner, who unfortunately is not here. He's also the lead of the film. His name is Tyler Atkins, Australian actor, as I like to introduce him to piss him off. He was trying to understand a friend in the entertainment business in Australia who had mentored him and was like a second mother to him and helped him kind of navigate through the entertainment business in Australia, who struggled with depression and struggled with self-image and took her life. And Tyler's response to that was, what could I have done to affect my friend? What could I have done if I had one more day with her? And his idea was to take her surfing and to teach her something that helped him get through his depression and his tumultuous childhood. So he was on a plane coming back to the States and wrote it on a napkin, the story. And the story was called The Love Effect. He then met the other lead, Ari Blinder, amazing human being and actor, in acting class in the States. They developed a story together, wrote a script on some old...
Another napkin.
Yeah, pretty much legal paper, chicken scratch. And I think, I'm not quite sure, maybe 6 months later, I met Tyler through my sister's long-term boyfriend, their family's house. I walk into the house and I see this half-naked man sitting on the couch, and he's like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?" He had tattoos everywhere, big curly hair, on his iPhone, his pajamas like halfway down his ass, and I'm like, "Who is this guy?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm an actor, do this, do a little that." And, I'm used to these conversations. And he said, "But I wrote something. I really want you to read it." And I said, "Sure." My sister's like, "Yeah, you should talk to me. Seems pretty cool." Tyler had a lot of success in the 2000s, winning the Australian Amazing Race and doing other things as an actor, chef, and business owner in Australia. So he really impressed on me that he wanted me to read this script. And it was a short script, 12 pages. And I told him that it was one of the best things that I've read. It was very terse. It was very Hemingway-esque, very simple.
And what about it? Because the 12 pages became 29 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah.
What about it? What are the spaces in between the lines that spoke to you, or how did that extend itself?
I think I just felt the tone and style and the imagery from the first couple of lines, and so much was grown in the rewriting that they allowed me to do, which I told them I wouldn't be able to direct it the way that I envisioned it without rewriting it. And they were graceful enough to allow me that and to bring me into that. I don't know. I saw it. Every single image in it is specific in design. Every single thing in there is a choice that was intentional. Mm. And so part of that was finding the right locations. You guys will see if you watch the trailer,
And I'll put a link to at the time when we release this so that people can see when it's official. But
it grew. I wanted to make something poetic that allowed you to think and feel, but had a certain pacing. Nowadays, we're kind of inundated with images and marketing and in your face, and cinema and storytelling used to take you on a journey, and sometimes the pacing was a part of the journey. So the reason why I designed a film that was like that was so the people would start asking questions. Well, why are we watching this van slowly go up the road in this zigzaggy path? So everything was designed to have symbolism that could be discussed and challenged, just like the characters' behaviors in the film, which are dealing with loss and love and depression and masculinity, among other things.
It's interesting because it made me think of there's a day in Australia, a national holiday or a day called Are You Okay Day?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just to remind people, like, check in with someone if they're really okay.
Yeah.
And as I was watching the movie, like, it made me think of many times when I've been with someone and really felt like, I don't think they're okay.
Yeah.
But then because I'm busy and it's awkward or whatever, for whatever reason I left,
Yeah.
And I think in this case, these guys stay together. There's not, it just doesn't, it's all in the moment. I feel like it's this beautiful, like, life is now kind of adventure,
Yeah.
Is that something you practice, or how did you, because it obviously spoke to you. What's your stand on checking in with friends or family members? Or
great heavy question. Well, I think masculinity and femininity is being redefined in this age, especially for men. It's growing, and it's also at war with itself. And we don't check in with ourselves. We don't check in with other people. And it's especially important now for men to break through, And I think we do that through art. I think we do that through friendship. I think we do that through sports. But we don't fully expose ourselves. We're not raised to do so. We're not raised to be emotional or to cry or to be vulnerable. And that's bullshit, because we're the most vulnerable.
Who's the first person you call when you have a heavy problem?
One of them's right there. Hold my phone. That's Mikey.
Nice. So you call a good friend.
Yeah, not just that, a great friend.
Great friend,
best friend, and now also roommate and lover. No, just kidding. Am I?
Well, hey, there's love. I get that.
And that's part of what I want to do with everything I do in life is re-examining and understanding love, because it goes beyond romance. It's the reason for our existence, in my opinion.
What is love to you?
For me, the reason my existence, but I take from a German psychologist named Erich Fromm, who impressed upon me at 19 years old when I was studying or trying to go to school, because I almost failed out until I decided to become a filmmaker. Love is an art. It takes practice and discipline and devotion and commitment. And it's an action. It's more than a feeling.
I like that. Yeah.
It is the reason for our existence.
And what is intimacy to you?
Well, the beautiful woman that was sitting in this chair earlier, Lori, said it, the first word, which I wholeheartedly agree, is vulnerability. And vulnerability, truthful, active vulnerability, I'm going to be vulnerable with you. I'm going to be loving with you. That is love. So the act of vulnerability is an act of faith, a leap of faith, as sometimes love is.
Why do you think men have such a hard time being vulnerable?
We were raised not to. Our peers don't allow us to. We're supposed to be masculine, tough, and competitive, and strong, and fierce. And we don't have platforms to be vulnerable. I think the new masculinity is starting to open up and grow because femininity is also growing, and women are growing in their ability to do better things as they were meant to do, and that's impressing upon us. I had a father and he was around, but I was pretty much raised by a strong woman in my life. And so that's why I think the way I do. But that's something that is at war with itself. And so until men can start to understand the way they think and feel and understand themselves, they can't change themselves. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. We should start a movement called "Vulnerability is the New Strength."
Yeah,
right?
it is. It really is.
Because I really feel like if we can crack that, if men can just be vulnerable and be weak as they're afraid to be, but not weak, but vulnerable and soft and human, I want to say, because we're not any different than women. We are different, but we're still human beings that are going through stuff, and we need to share it. And what's not working is when we don't share it or when we pretend we're strong, right?
Yeah.
Do you have hope? Is there hope in your book?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's around my neck, too.
It says hope?
It says hope right here.
I like it. I'll just say I knew that. He's wearing a necklace that says hope on it. That's great.
Absolutely. There's hope in vulnerability. There's hope in openness. And we can't change the world until we change ourselves, which is something that one of my favorite rappers said, Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G. B.I.G. P.O.P.P.A. No info for the D.E.A. That's my soft rap, by the way. I can do better, but...
Audience is chuckling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm funny. Sometimes.
You are funny. You should say 2-drink minimum. I'll be here all night.
I will be here all night. You said something that was beautiful. It was about vulnerability.
I try. Vulnerability is the new strength? No, not that one?
Yeah, because that's where real strength is.
Yeah. What is strength?
What is strength?
You can't say vulnerability because I said that.
Yeah.
But
what is strength? The simplest way to describe it, I think, is just courage. Because you don't need to be powerful to be strong. You just have to have courage. The person that's powerful can only go so far if they don't have courage.
What's power? Real power.
Real power is the ability to change something or someone. But the greatest power, I believe, is indeed love, because, a soldier of destruction has a means to an end, while a soldier of love is boundless and will never stop and will never quit and is infinite.
Just like Tyler in the movie, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of a soldier of love.
Yeah.
And the love effect means what?
The love effect. That came from Tyler. I think it's beautiful. It's also what's on my wrist here is a reminder, because we need to constantly remind ourselves of these things. It's the only way we can be our best selves. The love effect, I could define it, but I think that's worth the audience define it based off of hopefully seeing the film and some of the discussion we're having right now. Because my answer will suck.
I'm going to tell everyone to see it. I'm going to put the link up and then they can see it,
It'd be awesome. Be awesome.
There's a kind of a sad story as part of my life where I had a sort of friend that I met at an event, and we kind of stayed in touch, and I hadn't seen him for 5 years, and then I met him again at another event, and I looked into his eyes and he was not there. And I was kind of like, wow, okay, he's dealing with something, right? And I didn't check in. I mean, I kind of was like, how you doing? Things are great, but very superficial. It's hard. But about 2 weeks later, he was gone. Suicide. And it really taught me a lesson. Like, I could have checked in. I'm not saying I could have prevented it or, maybe, and I don't have any guilt around it. But I knew looking in his eyes that, there was a clear change. What's your experience of in the past when you've seen someone or been around people that were going through difficult times? What's your sort of warning signals that you've noticed? Are there any other warning signals?
Yeah, we always know. I've been pissed at Mike lately, and he knows, and I know when he's pissed at me. But that's being human. We go through ups and downs. In the past year, I've been transformational because of this film that I've made and also other things in life that are really working for me. But, I'm a goofy kid, but at the same time, I also deal with depression and anxiety. and then I can come in and be a rock star and put on a show and dance for the whole room. And then when I go home, I can go back to my shell. So that's just being human. The signs, just like these signs, hope and love and the love effect, are all around us. And what matters is the effort, the movement, the action, the art. So it doesn't take much to just ask someone if they're okay and check in with them. Sometimes it's literally the hardest part is just reaching out with courage, strength to say, hey, are you okay? Or what's your deal? Or as I like to do, make a joke.
But why don't we? I mean, I have my own answers, but why don't we just reach out to a stranger or a friend or someone? What's the awkwardness?
I think it's hard. I mean, we are afraid of vulnerability. We're afraid of being uncomfortable. We're afraid of challenges. It's so easy to say no and to be hands off than it is to make the effort. But in everything in life that I've done where I have gone outside of my comfort zone or reached out or done something for someone, every single time I'm happy I did. Every single time. And we live with so much anxiety of not doing something that the actual action of doing something is many times the liberation we need. We sit in these emotional spaces, or just like actors, when you want them to be in a special place or a vulnerable place, they go to that space and they stay there until they're taken out of it, action or cut or whatever they do to get out of it. And it's no different from human beings. We get into a space. I was very bummed by that. I was bummed that we couldn't show the film.
Technical difficulties, yeah.
And I forgot what it was like to deal with that. I haven't done that in a long time. But going back to the change and being the change and letting it go, I've returned to my best self, even though I'm being quiet.
Well, I think it's beautiful because I believe that everything happens for a reason, although I don't really mean that. There's not really reason behind things, but it just happens, and then you can deal with it powerfully or not, right?
Yeah.
And what happened is every filmmaker's worst nightmare. You're screening your film, and it can't
People
get screened.
People are leaving, and I'm like, please stay. I have something to show you. It's going to be really good.
Right. They're like, no, I got to go get a drink.
Well, that's okay.
But, totally okay, because I feel like the message, as a filmmaker, I feel that when we're being selfless, as long as the message comes through, which I think we hopefully just delivered, then that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
The film is in itself a piece of art, and that'll get appreciated for what it is. But I feel like, at least for myself, when people get the message or someone says, wow, that really touched me or changed my life, it's like, check, I did what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And they go like, well, I didn't like the cinematography, but, and you're like, I don't care. Your life changed, right? So I'm not saying that it's disregard the movie, but I think the message is beautiful, and I think hopefully we're able to kind of give something to the listeners about vulnerability and strength, and especially for men to check in with men, for that not to be awkward. And we got to just get rid of this image of like, the two soft men talking to each other, and like, whatever labels we throw around that, and really acknowledge men for being vulnerable and say, wow, that was beautiful. You cried. Like, that takes courage. Like you said, it's courage, right? Then there's hope.
Well, all those things are very beautiful, Roman, and that is what the title of the film is, The Love Effect. So you are the love effect.
So you are the love effect. And we're just passing it on, right?
Yes.
And again, I wish everyone could have seen the movie now, but it's clear that The Love Effect is a movie that has a message that's very positive, and not every film does. So I acknowledge you for making what I call a good film, worth seeing the light of day. It's called The Love Effect. Soon will be online, Netflix, iTunes, we hope, right?
Yeah, if everything goes according to plan, it will be a major motion picture.
Is that the plan? Is the feature next? Great. Well, I wish you, and I'm sure everyone in here, all the best. You don't need luck. Just go get it done, because the world needs to see more beautiful, courageous, vulnerable art. So thank you, Drue Metz.
Thank you.
This was another episode of You Love Life. Until next time, be yourself, love always, and enjoy your life.